So last year, our 11th grade students were looking at our 12th grade students while they were really finishing up the IB Diploma Program. And they were looking at them and realizing that they were really being challenged. It was a very difficult time for them. So they wanted to prepare, right? They wanted to see what next year was going to be like. So they decided that the best way to do this is to create the IB documentary.
Education must not simply teach work, it must teach life. One can only imagine that these words flew through the minds of great thinkers like John Leach, Alec Peterson, and Kurt Hahn in 1962 at the International Schools Conference of Teachers, when the term International Baccalaureate was first coined, and 6 years later in Geneva, when the IBO was officially formed.
What they did is they did a little research on the program, and then they interviewed the students that were going through it, and they interviewed the teachers to really get a comprehensive look at what they were about to face next year.
It's a pretty steep learning curve. How do we get students in 9 and 10 acclimated to what they're expected to do in grade 11 and 12? And it's hard because cognitively speaking, a 13 and 14-year-old, 15-year-old kid is just not ready conceptually and academically and in the way that their brains work for abstract thinking for what the demands are at 11 and 12. So it's a challenge. It's a matter of work ethic and getting kids a bit more prepared for the amount of work and amount of time that is expected in IB.
So IB is not just an academic program, it really is a program that develops the whole child.
Receiving the IB diploma is a huge undertaking that requires students to not only test their limits in academia, but develop through service, physical activity, exploration of the arts, and embrace learning as a lifelong commitment. IB's academic program consists of 6 subject groups: studies in language and literature, language acquisition, individuals and societies, sciences, mathematics, and the arts. 5 of which are compulsory, where should art be a subject not chosen, the student is able to double up in another group. Furthermore, IB students are required to meet the fulfillments of the IB core to receive the diploma, meaning they need to complete a 4,000-word research paper known as the extended essay, engage in activities that enrich their creativity, physical ability, and need to serve as well as take on a 7th course, Theory of Knowledge. With this in mind, the completion of the full diploma can sometimes be a grueling pursuit.
One of the parts of that video that I found most interesting was right at the beginning, where one of our students said that the IB program actually destroyed her. So what it does is it deconstructs your preconceptions of knowledge and allows you to reconstruct it with broader understanding.
A lot of the students end up doing courses just because they feel it's more flexible for them, giving them the chance to reach for their personal goals without adding the stress of full DP. Whether doing the full IB or courses, all of the interviews had their very own view on the intensity of the workload.
How are you finding the IB course for you so far?
It's very, very challenging. There's a lot of work to do.
There's like a lot of things to do and a lot of things to get covered.
It's a lot of work, yes, but like I feel like it's manageable. Like the content isn't that hard, but like it's just like the volume of work is like a lot.
Fine.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I think the whole thing has kind of been exaggerated. I don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it seem.
I was really impressed with what these students did because they used a problem that they had or an issue or questions that they had, and they did something constructive with it. Even though it was scary. With art, it's always scary to put your work out there because you know that it's going to be judged. But part of IB is not just to learn the material, but also to do something with it. To take that risk, to be fearless, to take the comments that come with it and grow. When I see what our students are doing with the IB program, I think how excited I am to have my girls do it as well in the next couple of years. And what I really like about it is that it's very international mindedness. It fosters international mindedness. It fosters an awareness of the world beyond AISK. And also, it's not a shallow program. It's really about depth of knowledge and depth of understanding. And these students that have done the IB documentary and so many other things that our IB students do really exemplify this.
Even though IB may seem utterly stressful, that it might take over your life, or that you won't do well, it's important to understand that you're still a teenager. You should take the chances you get to enjoy yourself, to help others, to get closer to your friends, to laugh, to have fun, to work together, to grow and get to know yourself over these next 2 years. Go into IB with your head up. Try your best and let the hardships you face change you for the better. Use IB to make mistakes, to learn, to improve, and to be better than you were before. Good luck, guys. You can do it.